about this kind of party that people are throwing, which is a very unusual kind of party where instead of getting together to drink or to chill out or whatever, people are coming together to do their life admin. So often we don't have time to celebrate, to be with the people we love, to connect, to create anything fun because we're drowning in life admin, in bureaucracy, and this idea of inviting all your friends over to all sit together at the dining table and complete that to-do list together just seems like such a beautiful antidote to the isolation that comes from living in this late stage capitalist bureaucratic nightmare, which quite intentionally drowns us in all of this life admin to keep us away from our creativity, our authenticity, our power, our inspiration, all of the things that we would love to be doing for joy and for fun. And one of those things is gathering with other people that we love, right? So loved that idea so much. And also the idea of being able to fit everyone I love around a dinner table to do life admin is not entirely possible. There's another kind of admin, if you like, that we often don't have the time to complete. And that is tending to all of the things we aspire to do as spiritual seekers, right? So there might be meditation practices or manifestation tools or books we want to read or podcasts we want to listen to. We've got all these things on our to-do list of our spiritual awakening, which are all really beautiful and valid and in the same kind of chaos of life that is so demanding, especially at this time of year, it just never gets done. And then we can go into that kind of shame spiral around our spirituality where we feel like we're being bad at being conscious and we're wanting to participate, but life is drowning us. And so I was thinking, what is the antidote to this? Well, undoubtedly, there is a lack of time, right? And this time of year feels like a time crunch for everybody. And then that just perpetuates the cycle. And so when I was thinking about, well, what can I do? I want to feel connected to fellow spiritual seekers. I want to feel like I am tending to that list, that I'm actually moving my consciousness in the right direction and not just getting drowned in all of the chaos of life, all of the constant trauma that comes from seeing the polycrisis that the world is living through. Let's get together. Let's hang out. What we do together is exponentially increased in power. This is evidenced. This is known. This is science. We are more powerful when we unite our energies. So there are plenty of studies that demonstrate that when meditators come together with a shared intention and hold a particular idea in mind, perhaps for peace or whatever it is, and directed at a particular part of the world, there are measurable benefits. There is reduced crime, there's reduced war, there's reduced all of the negative things we don't want. So when I was sitting with all of this chaos that I've been feeling at this time of year, I'm like, well, let's come together. Let's hang out. And what do we want to do primarily on this path of awakening consciousness? If I'm going to put it in a very frank, very Australian kind of way, we kind of want to unfuck ourselves, right? Unfuck ourselves from the year that was. No matter how beautiful and blessed so many wonderful things have been for you, undoubtedly you are carrying that subconscious shared trauma of this assault of the polycrisis, of being in this constant cycle of bad news, of bad events, of overwhelm of information. So as an antidote, why don't we gather together and unfuck ourselves and join our energies as one to exponentially increase the power of what we can do and be and experience? There's no point building all of our manifestation tools on a faulty foundation. There's no point trying to come up with your word for 2026 when you're still shaking inside from the trauma of 2025, when you have not processed all of the heaviness of whatever you've seen around you, whatever's been happening in your own life, the chaos of this time of year. So before we go into manifesting anything, we need to clear the decks. We need to make space for how we want to live and breathe and feel and respond and create in this new year. So before we start building something on a faulty foundation, I invite you to come and hang out with the beloved community that I get to spend time with the Institute. And let's unfuck our 2026. Let's not take anything into that new year that is going to limit us. And this is really part of a bigger thesis for me that I am exploring and thinking of different ways to talk about the power of intuition. Intuition as intuitive intelligence is our highest form of intelligence. And when we're in flow with that, when we're in an embodied state of being, we are living lives that feel aligned, where the chaos, while still there, the demands are still happening. We are not being thrown around by all of that noise, all of that life admin, all of the demands, all of the time crunches. We can move into another frequency. We can move out of the chaos. We can move out of the storytelling of fear that is the dominant narrative of what we see around us through social media, through all of the channels in which we receive information. There is so much that can be tapped into. And when we are living from our intuitive intelligence, it's entirely possible to leap into that frequency, not as a bypass, not as an avoidance technique, but as a way of being better resourced to manage all that we are witnessing and to contribute something better. And so I'm really sitting with this idea of unfucking ourselves, of deprogramming from this dominant program, which is trying to keep us in a scarcity mindset, which is trying to keep us in a lack mentality, which is trying to keep us feeling separate and isolated. Undoubtedly, the antidote to that is connecting to your inner authority to recognize that we can be bigger storytellers and we tell that story with our energy. And so we are really sitting in that time, I believe, in the human collective awakening, which is time to unfuck ourselves and to unfuck our intuition, to unfuck our power, to unfuck our relationships with each other, with the world, with the environment, with God, right? That we have been programmed with a whole bunch of BS that we do not need to carry forward. And we have the capacity to do it when we are feeling robust, resourced, and scaffolded in our highest form of intelligence, our intuitive intelligence. It is an embodied state of being. It is a flow state. It is one that is available to all of us. And we simply need to be given the time and space to connect to it, because the noise of the world is intentionally getting louder to keep us from reaching that tipping point of awakening consciousness. There's no accident in this, right? There's no accident in the way that information and resources and the economy and the world is being organized to keep us in a constant state of fear, to feel ambushed, bombarded, overwhelmed by disaster after disaster, by chaos after chaos. And we have to choose to opt out, which again is not about bypassing. This is the way that we get better at being able to engage with the world and to create an alternative, to create a new reality. So 2026 is my year of unfucking myself, unfucking my intuition, and bringing myself back into that inner authority, which says, yep, I see it, I witness it, I honor it, but I will not be reduced, minimized, harmed by the storytellers who are power brokers, who are wielding their power to keep us all in a state of uncertainty, of scarcity, of lack, of crisis. We can choose differently, and we can then create a new reality for all. So let's begin with unfuck your 2026. Let's move into this new year willing to unfuck the world on behalf of ourselves and all, right? We are one. It is the law. And what we do for ourselves, we do for all. And we can make an incredibly big, impactful change if we are willing to deprogram, to step out of all of the subconscious biases, the programs that have kept us limited, small, separate, isolated, finite, when in truth we are infinite, unlimited consciousness. I love you, I see you, and I can't wait to hang out with you. So much love to you.